Jessica Pratt, on behalf of the Sydney Opera Society, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, what was the criteria in choosing the music for this performance?
Well, it's actually a concept that I've played with a lot in the last few years, using different mad scenes. The first one I think I did in Bilbao, and I used Ophelia. And it basically developed over the years to this format where I decided that since a lot of my personal growth and history is really strongly based in the Italian bel canto, I wanted to really explore the Italian bel canto composers, specifically Donizetti and Bellini. And so I decided to do an all Bellini-Donizetti concert. And I wanted to include, for example, Emilia di Liverpool, because it's the very first time that Donizetti, who was one of the most important people for composing bel canto operas on mad characters or mental instability, this was his first attempt at this kind of scena. And he did this scene where she's sort of half asleep, half awake, remembering her mother. I think she sees her mother talking about these things. So it's not a full mad scene. It's more of a, in Italiano, delirio. And from this scene, I basically decided to make the CD Delirio, which will be released, pre-released in Australia on the day of the concert in Sydney. And then it will be released worldwide in, I think, end of September with a concert with the orchestra with whom we recorded it, which is Maggio Musicale Fiorentino. And so basically these scenes develop. So I have 3 Donizetti scenes, Emilia di Liverpool, which was his first one, Lucia di Lammermoor, which is the most famous mad scene today, but in the past, in his lifetime, his most famous mad scene was actually sorry, my brain. His most famous mad scene was actually the Linda di Chamonix. And the particularity about Linda di Chamonix and that we're performing here is that for, I think, over a century, the cavatina has been missing. So what we've been performing is just the cavaletta, and it would be like doing Lucia's mad scene, singing just Spargi d'amaro pianto, just the last part and not the whole beginning. So now that we've found this music, I'm trying to perform it as much as possible because it really is a fantastic mad scene. And, you know, in this form, it's very effective. And I can see why at its time it was the most famous mad scene. It was longer than Lucia and more popular. So I thought these are definitely 3 Donizetti mad scenes that have really sort of painted his path and showed his development as an artist as well. And then Bellini, I wanted to choose the 2 most famous, you know, Bellini delirious scenes, because obviously sleepwalking, Sonnambula, is not mad, she's delirious. And Puritani is a mad scene, but again, it's more of a depiction of deep depression than madness. So yeah, I thought I would like to have all these different aspects of mental instability and so on, depression.
Because you performed Delirio in Palermo very successfully. It was a triumph for you. So there are going to be some similarities between what you performed in last November in Palermo and here, because the program is a little bit different.
No, I love it. It's the same. What I sing is the same, but what I like to do is give each conductor the opportunity to decide how they want to express themselves in the symphonies. Also, sometimes there is chorus and sometimes there is not chorus. And so in Palermo, there was chorus. So they had choruses between the pieces as well. For example, the Lucia, we did the entire Scena di Pazzia di Lucia, including the chorus and the bass aria beforehand. In Sydney, it would just be focused on the mad scenes themselves with smaller symphonies in between.
Now, who is more challenging to sing, Bellini or Donizetti?
They both have very different challenges. I think Bellini has an extreme vocal challenge of legato in the center line, and it requires a little bit more body to the voice in a lot of, well, in the scenes that I'm doing, because obviously Donizetti also has very, very heavy soprano roles, which I'm not singing at the moment. But Donizetti, I think, really needs a lot of expression, because he was basically the father of Verdi, where everything is focused on the words. And so, yeah, Bellini, you have sort of one phrase that develops over 15 minutes. And Donizetti, there's a little bit more going towards, you know, libretto being more important, acting, and yeah. So they have different challenges.
Is there something special that we can expect on the 3rd of August? Any super high notes?
There are a lot of super high notes. I think there's like a few in every piece. It's a very, very challenging concert, very challenging.
Yeah, that is wonderful to hear. And will you be wearing the wonderful costumes that you used at the Teatro Massimo in Palermo?
I will. I have them all here in my suitcase.
Because
I managed to get them all into one case, which I think is very impressive.
Because they were very impressive. They attracted much attention.
They're beautiful. They were done for me by a friend of mine who's a costumist, Giuseppe Palela, and each costume reflects the particular character, what they're going through at the time. So I'm very, very grateful to him to have done this beautiful creation for me.
Now, we need a present from Jessica Pratt. When finally are you going to include Norma in your repertoire?
Norma is a tricky one. I actually had it planned for Sydney, but they decided that they can't go ahead with that production. So that's very unfortunate. That would have been very soon. So now I think at the moment my debut is in 2027. But I'm hoping that I can bring it to Australia in 2025.
That's wonderful news. Really wonderful news, Jessica. Thank you. And do you have any final words for our audience?
I hope you have a good time.
Jessica Pratt, has been an honor and a great pleasure to have you as a guest today. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Grazie tanto, Jessica.
Thank you.